Welcome to Decades of Horror, the classic era.
Yes, most distressing, but alas, inevitably you can't have operations without screams. Pain and the knife, they're inseparable.
This is episode 205, recorded June 1st, 2025.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Jeff Mohr, and on this podcast we cover the good, the bad, maybe even the ugly horror films released since the beginning of time through 1969. In each episode, we'll discuss the monster, spirits, psychos, and villains that have haunted movie-going audiences since the dawn of film history. With me this week are my incredible co-hosts. First up is, let's introduce the new guy, in case you guys don't recognize him. Doc Rotten is back.
Hi.
It's rotten time.
It's rotten time.
There you go. All right. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Glad to be back.
It is great to have you back. It really is.
Thanks for having me back.
I kept feeling bad every time we do a movie. I'd go, oh shoot, Doc would like this. But anyway, also with us is Chad Hunt, co-host on Decades of Horror, the All of Them, film producer and director with Freak Havoc Production, and a comic book artist and writer. Chad, how you doing?
Sweet. I just got back from Carolinas.
Ooh.
Got to see a bunch of people that I haven't seen in a while. I got to see Bill, Jerry Chandler, Tom Gore, a whole bunch of people in the North Carolina filmmaking crews and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a great time. I had a blast.
Cool. You did some panels, right?
Got to be on some panels with John Hartness, and who published Bill's book Round.
Oh yeah.
And and Michelle, she's going to kill me, but I can't ever remember her name.
Indiana Tuono or something like that.
Yeah. I did a panel with those two, and we had a blast. So
I've got her movies. Each one of those is better.
Oh, she's amazing. Yeah, she's something else.
Also with us, last but not least, is Dawson. It's Dawson.
Dawson's Creek.
Who is Daphne, who is awesome, stupendous, and likable as hell. How you doing?
Oh, I missed you guys. Welcome back, Doc. It's great to see you guys.
What has been going on?
You don't want to know.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Jeff. Don't even start. All right. Decades of Horror and Gruesome Magazine partnered with PlayNow Media on several of their channels. And in fact, Decades of Horror, the classic era, is on the classic sci-fi movie channel, the classic horror movie channel, and the Wicked Horror TV channel. So if you want to subscribe to that, you'll get to see us, or even if you don't subscribe. So you can watch them without subscribing or creating an account, and you'll get ads, and you'll miss out on some premium content. Or you can create an account and still not pay, and you get to see all that stuff, but it will remember you. So you can have a watch list, and if you start watching a movie, quit, come back to it later, it remembers where you were. Or you could pay the fee, the subscription fee, and it's $6.99 a month or $50 for a year. But we have a promo code for you, and it is DOH60, DOH all caps 60, and for that you get 20% off your first payment. So if you sign up for the monthly plan, you would get $1.40 off the first month. If you sign up for the annual plan, you get $10 off 50, so it'd only be $40 for a year. You do have to be first-time subscribers, and you do have to subscribe through their website, and then use those credentials that you create to log in on wherever you download your app. So just search PlayNow Media, and you'll see all of their stuff. You might find other ones you want to watch.
There's lots of good stuff.
Lots of good stuff. There's a zombie channel. There's a grindhouse channel. There's a point of view channel, which is like found footage. There's, anyway.
Wrestling.
Professional wrestling channel. All right. So on this podcast, we are a spoiler podcast. So for those who are not used to us, we need to point out that these are, if you don't want to have it spoiled, if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to know what's going to happen, you should go watch the movie first. Otherwise, we're just going to spoil it. And if you don't care, then welcome. Or if you've already seen it. Because once we start talking about these movies, we don't know when to shut up. So there will be spoilers.
Some of us don't.
It's just too hard. I just can't do it. So on this podcast, we start by giving a few basic details of the film we're going to cover, followed by each of our first impressions of the movie. Then we talk about how the movie is marketed, aka taglines and some posters, and then we move into the filmmakers and crew and, different scenes, plots, etc., etc., etc. Today's topic is Corridors of Blood, released in 1958, sort of. Directed by Robert Day, written by Gene Scott Rogers. The cast includes Boris Karloff, Christopher Lee, Betta St. John, Francis Matthews, Francis DeWolf, Adrienne Corey, Nigel Green, Yvonne Romaine, and Frank Pettengel. And I left out Finley. I've lost his last name.
Finley. Just Finley.
Von Stroheim.
And Finley Curry. Okay.
I like Von Stroheim better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stroheim.
The production companies are Amalgamated Productions and Producers Associates. Amalgamated Productions, they were partnering. So Amalgamated Productions was US and Producers Associates was in the UK. It was filmed at MGM British Studios at Boreham Wood, Hertfordshire. Filming dates, I found one listing that said they started filming May 12th, 1958. Otherwise, I don't have any other idea. Release date, December 1958 in the UK, just a limited release. And then the 20th of September, 1962 in London. And May 12th, 1963 in the US. And we'll talk about why that was. The budget is listed as £90,000 or £200,000. And it's in Wikipedia with both those numbers with different sources.
Take your pick.
The synopsis: in an effort to relieve the suffering of surgery patients, Dr. Thomas Bolton painstakingly develops an opium-based anesthetic, to which he gradually becomes addicted. In order to provide a continual supply of chemicals to continue his experiments and support his addiction, he falls in with a den of murderers who use his signature to sell cadavers to the local hospital. And there he is, experimenting on himself,
All hopped up on opium.
inhaling his
Getting stoned.
Formula 28 or something. Anyway, Corridors of Blood. All right. Well, this is Daphne's pick. And we just want to point out, this is, for us, it's like watching a double feature, because this was sold as a double feature with Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory, and that was our last episode. So we figured we should just complete the double feature. So
Collect the whole set.
Yeah.
that's
The
right.
the double feature without the sore bum. Which is which was what always happens to me when I'm watching
Oh,
yes,
yes, yes. I get it.
Yeah, you might want to take that out.
I
Jeff.
don't want to.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about sitting in a theater seat for 4
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah,
And your butt gets numb.
Yeah.
it does.
But the bum down the street, he ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Or sore butt. Anyway, I will see if that's.
Had you
good
seen
or
this
not.
before? Or what did you think of this, Daphne?
I had not seen it before. So I was looking forward to seeing it. Boris Karloff, Christopher Lee. I didn't realize who else was in it. That was fun, seeing a lot of familiar faces. I thought it was fun. Some parts I thought were a little long, like maybe they could have, some stuff kind of seemed a little repetitive, but I thought the acting was really good. I loved watching Boris Karloff play that kind of character. Loved listening to his voice, but he did a great job acting. Christopher Lee was super creepy. Did so good without saying much. and before he was, who he is. And I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. What'd I say?
Was it the anesthetic-free surgery or the addiction or the broken hair part that was fun? Okay.
It was. Well, all of the above.
All right. Thank you. Doc, how are you doing? And
I don't know.
You see,
I had not seen this before. I thought I had, but I have not. And I found it. I agree, a little slow at times, but very entertaining, especially from having watched so many British films from the 50s and into the 60s and even into the 70s. All these familiar faces popping up was a complete joy, and just about every major cast member is somebody recognized from later on. And this, seeing Christopher Lee and, straight out of doing Curse of Frankenstein. So, he hasn't blown up yet filming this. And because he wasn't released, I imagine, before this was filmed. Of course, it didn't come out right away. So, well, whatever. But I had a great time with it. It was really interesting to see how dedicated the Boris Karloff's character was, to the point of, just ruining everything for himself. He was so committed. He was, blind to what he was doing. But it's interesting having it lead to what it did, in the final shots. I really enjoyed this. Really did.
Okay. Mr. Chad, good to have you back, Doc.
Thank you.
I agree with that. This is the first time I've seen this. I've never heard of it before, but 10 minutes into it, I'm like, Daphne, no.
What? Okay, one, I love that, but I also am like, no.
Not another Birkenhair, grave robbing. No, I'm joking around.
Yeah.
But it was a lot more than just that. It was a really good story, I thought, and about addiction and some of the things that were brought out in it are very true, of how people develop addictions and how people deal with addictions in their daily lives and how it affects them in their daily lives and stuff like that. So I found that part really good, and that's what kind of drew me into the film. Karloff was excellent. This is one of the best acting roles I've ever seen him in. And along with the other film, Body Snatcher, which, hey, there we go again with the snatching of bodies. Yeah, but yeah, this turned out to be one of my favorite roles of his, I think, after Frankenstein. So Christopher Lee, definitely creepy in this. They did a good shadows, keeping shadows on his face, and they lit him like perfectly to make him look creepy, and I enjoyed that a lot. And just the same old den of thieves, murderers, and rapists swinging, in a dirty, dingy underground bar, and with loose women dancing around, and that kind of thing, and to break up all the good parts.
Yeah.
So,
secret passages.
Yeah, the fun parts. So yeah, I like this movie a lot. I'm glad we covered it.
All right, cool. I liked it too, and it's a pair of movies that this director and producer did in the same year. The other one was The Haunted Strangler, and we may talk about that a little bit, but I don't know what I'm doing. Okay.
Really?
Well, I got into the details of this whole concept, because this is supposed to take place in 1840. I believe it said at the beginning, in London. and it's actually a pretty good depiction of what surgery was like in pre-1850.
Yes, exactly.
And we'll talk about this a little later, but if you're interested, there's a woman that wrote a book that was published in 1938 called Triumph Over Pain. It was about the history of anesthesia, and it's 500 pages long, and it's on archive.org. So if you want to read it, it's there. But there's chapters like ether parties across the country. That's a chapter. I'm like, oh yeah, this is before drugs were illegal. So anyway, I liked it a lot. I love Karloff in this, and he does a whole range of things. You know, he's the bolsterous, emotion, excited, ambitious guy with an idea, and then he's the defeated, all the way down to the defeated person who can't get any help from anybody and has to resort to things he doesn't want to. But it's kind of a weird combination of historical drama, kind of, in the development of the anesthesia, and then Burke and Hare, and drug addiction. And the first time I looked this up before I saw it, and I saw that Christopher Lee played a character named Resurrection Joe, I thought, oh, this has to be good. I mean, anyway.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I enjoyed it. It's a weird combination of history and horror. Sometimes I feel like they threw some of this stuff in to add horror to it, but this is the same. All this stuff was happening at the same time. The selling the bodies and all that stuff. So, all right. Well, I guess that's kind of it for the first impressions. But now's the time when we do this little thing that we call Taglines with Chad. Chad.
Is it now? Okay. Taglines for what is it? Corridors of Blood?
Yes,
I don't know. Anyway, the taglines are Tots in Terror. All right, I'm going to move along to the next one now. Okay. His newest and most frightening role. Who? Von Stroheim?
Yeah.
It's got to be talking about Boris, right?
See Body Snatchers, which is a completely different movie. See Cruel Beauties. See whatever they are. See Blood Curdling Experiments of Dr. Bolton. That's misleading as hell.
It is. I like to see Cruel Beasties. I like, that would be fun.
Yeah. See Cruel Beasties. It sounds like a
Black Ben's wife. I'd put her in that category.
Yeah. Wow.
Beauty, Cruel Beauty.
Yes, she was a cruel beauty.
Yeah. Stark Terror stalks his victims. Was he in this movie, Stark Terror?
That's what I was wondering.
2 fiendish features and a new horror show, Nervorama.
Nervorama. Love it.
That's for the double feature, right? The next 2 are for the double feature too.
How much shock can your nerves stand?
Yep. I don't know.
I'll tell you how much
We
shock.
should go to the Nervorama and find out.
For people with nerves of iron only, that's how much shock they can stand.
Steel cables of I don't
No
know.
cables.
Nerve cables.
And that's been Taglines with Chad.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
Yay! We should get her to put that in since you do that every time.
Yeah. That way I wouldn't have to do it.
That's funny.
Okay.
We should all do it at one time.
Well, let's take a look at some of these posters, and there's a wide variety. So this is the one that I see the most, I guess. We got, I don't know, is that supposed to be Christopher Lee up in the top?
Yeah.
grabbing the woman from behind.
Resurrection Joe, indeed it is.
And
Did you say it's Erection Joe?
that's what I thought he said too, but I know he did.
No,
I don't.
but
Okay.
He was kind of soft on the first two
Oh, okay.
syllables. You know?
Okay.
Oh, you guys.
And the guy screaming in pain while Boris stands there with the knife going.
Yeah.
Fingers on the point. Okay.
I love this poster.
I do too. That's and then this is pretty much the same images, but slightly differently arranged and with taglines. So the app that we put our notes in won't allow me to do bigger fonts in the same line. So that's why I highlighted newest and most frightening role. Anyway.
Behind the scenes.
Pretty much the same. Tops in Terror. I just don't even know who thinks of that. All
well,
right.
this was close to the 60s. Everybody said, oh, that's Tops. It's the bee's knees, man.
Yeah. So here's a couple lobby cards. So same graphics on the one, just turned sideways and rearranged. But the bottom one is it's Mexican or Spanish.
Are we searching the net?
Well, I don't know what's wrong with me.
I have a few theories. I'd be willing to share.
I got a book.
Oh, there we go.
Maybe he'll sign it for you.
Nah.
Now, this is not the same thing. This says Bloody Passages.
Okay. Bloody
Yeah.
passages. I like that.
I could see bloody passageways, but passages could be, well, never mind.
Yes.
But it's nice and colorful. Got some red moved in there. This is just a press book that came with it. Stark Terror stalks his victim.
I wonder if any of our listeners have like old press books like this. That'd be awesome to know.
That would be.
That would be cool. Rated X.
In England
Yeah.
or the UK.
This is the cover of the
Comic book.
Criterion
It does look like one, doesn't it?
collection.
Oh,
Looks like it's going to
It comes in a 4-pack DVD slipcase, and I believe it's called Monsters and Madmen. And this one has this particular. It's a single case. It's got Corridors of Blood in it, and The Haunted Strangler, which is by the same director producer, stars Boris, and it's got this artwork on one side and artwork for The Haunted Strangler on the other side. But this is pretty, like, I don't know, pretty Picasso. You do have the little fixture there that he sucks in the drugs on, and I don't know, heavy eyebrows, etc. But otherwise, it's pretty modern artish. And then the double feature. How do we promote this double feature? Nervorama.
best way possible.
with that pig wolf in the corner there.
Oh yeah.
God, that was the weirdest thing.
I still don't know
Yeah, it
what
still
that
looks
was.
all pretty.
That's still the weirdest thing, right? Yeah.
He wasn't born right.
Anyway, yeah, and there's the Nerves of Iron, and so there's well, we'll get to that. So I looked up the director. The director was pretty well known and did tons of stuff, but the main person that I got into, partially because the commentary on the Criterion DVD is Tom Weaver and Richard Gordon, the producer. And so most of the stories came from the point of view of the producer, but these were, so I looked up the pictures that he did. He was an independent producer for the most part. He started his own company shortly after this, because this was the last film of Amalgamated. They went out, but, and these are all ones that I'd heard of and that we've either done or talked about doing, except maybe First Man into Space. The Haunted Strangler, Fiend Without a Face, which we've done, Island of Terror, which we have talked about, and Horror Hospital that we did on 70s a while ago. And then these, which I have no idea what's in most of these, except Inseminoid, which is 1980. Naked Evil has the caption across the top, The Black Exorcist, which I thought was Abby, but okay. Black Death Stalks the Night with Voodoo Terror, blah, blah, blah. And then next to it there is Tower of Evil. A Night of Pleasure becomes a Night of Terror. Oh, Jill Hayworth. She was in It. The
Terror
the
from
Golem movie. Yeah.
Oh, that It.
The Golem.
The other It.
Yeah. And then Curse of the Voodoo, Jungle Terror, Native Fury, Blood Sacrifice of the Simbazi.
You know those Simbazi.
Yeah. Devil Doll, which is in the 60s. We're not talking the 30s version. And then an Italian film that they seem to have taken the same method as they did to create the title for a werewolf in a girl's dormitory. This one is The Playgirls and the Vampire.
Ooh, we're going to cover that.
Only to meet the devil in the flesh. Yes. And of course, it has an entirely different title in Italian. But this was too good not to put up.
I've been wanting to pick Devil Doll. It's also on Classic Horror Movie Channel for a while. So that might pop up.
And Yvonne Romaine is in that. That's in this one. She's Blood.
She's what the daughter of the two people at the bar. Right?
I think so.
Was it something Ben?
Yeah,
Black Ben. Otherwise known as Bluto.
Kind of the Bluto type character. So I don't know. I don't know why, but these may go on my rotate. I'll be checking these out on like Classic Horror or Wicked Horror TV to see if any of these are on there or wherever they are. And I think we actually talked about doing Inseminoid once, but we were all like, no, don't do Inseminoid. But that's the producer. And the producer tells a lot of stories.
Was there another Devil Doll? You guys said
in the 30s.
Oh, okay.
With Lionel Barrymore.
Okay. Ah, yes. Okay.
Then there was another one from the 70s or 80s. Yeah, that was not to be talked about here.
According to the producer Richard Gordon. So as what happens often, it seems like this happens to a lot of movies that we do in all decades. The MGM organization in the U.S. had a complete turnover of management a few weeks shortly after the production started. And the new management no longer wanted to distribute films produced by other companies, like Corridors of Blood. But MGM said, well, go ahead and finish this film. But they wanted to be reimbursed for their investment when filming was completed. Well, when the film was done, they still didn't have the money. And it still belonged to MGM. So they had to wait till they could find financing. Well, then there was another change in management at MGM in the U.S. And they set up a division to distribute all those films, and it ended up on the shelf when the previous management decided not to distribute them. And then this is actually Richard Gordon's words. Meanwhile, it was somebody's bright idea to acquire Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory for a double bill with Corridors of Blood. He didn't like it, but he had no say in it.
Well, it must be because of the similar plot points.
I guess. I don't know.
And themes.
I don't know. Now, this guy's pretty smart because he set it up so that he got he did 4 films. These, the 2 Haunted Strangler, Corridors of Blood, the First Men in Space, and I forget the 4th one. He set it up so that those 4 films were licensed to MGM for 12 years, but then they reverted back to him because he didn't want to. He knew what happened at that time. before internet, before discs and VHS and everything, movies just kind of got thrown out and disappeared and stuff. So after about 5 years, so he was able to keep them and put them into distribution. He also said that he felt like MGM seemed kind of embarrassed by the whole deal. It didn't market it very much. He knows that what they were doing, like putting out this double feature, was kind of copying AIP. And he thought, if AIP would have done this and had our movie in there under them, that would have done much better. But at any rate, that's why it didn't get released for 5 years.
Wow.
5 years.
Just crazy stuff. All right. Enough about the producer. Well, the director was Robert Day. And I didn't recognize too much stuff. You guys notice anything?
Some of the atmosphere of some of the shots I thought were really good, and kind of creepy.
Yeah, it did.
It
It did kind of have a sibling of Hammer. Early Hammer one was all black and white. It kind of felt the same way. And the shots were really well lit, like you said earlier. And the set, especially where was it Black Ben? His little setup was really, really good. And they made, and even like the little, what they do, they had the little escape hatch. They pulled the thing in there. There's a hole in the wall, and everybody goes running into it. Now, where they go, who knows? But off they go in that hole.
Like rats.
Mice. They're like, rats and mice. Yeah, getting scurrying about. So you're right. It was really well produced and shot and directed. Yeah.
I liked also I like the differences between the house that he lived in that was kind of upper class, and it's like a lot of references to class that way, and the hospital, and and then also the Black Ben's place. What was it? They called Seven. What was the
Seven
name of the
Dial.
Seven Dial. Yeah.
It was a district in London that I think now it's like an upscale renovated marketplace.
Gentrified.
But back then it was basically a slum.
Well, they did a good job kind of portraying that. There's one, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but there's one that kind of the walkway outside the entrance to the pub or the inn. I love that shot, just the kind of narrowness, and it kind of like, don't go down there by yourself kind of feel going.
Very crampy and claustrophobic. It like almost like it was leaning in on itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the good matte paintings in the background too.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. I did notice, besides this and The Haunted Strangler, he directed She.
She what?
Ursula Andress, Peter Cushing. And he did a lot of television, 6 episodes of The Avengers, 9 episodes of the FBI in the U.S.
He did lots of Tarzan stuff.
Yeah, he did. And I was looking those up. They're all ladder Tarzan things. Every one of them has a different Tarzan. I didn't even. One of them was Mike or Mark Henry. I had never heard of it.
Mark Henry is the guy that in Smokey and the Bandit that played Buford T. Justice's son.
Yes,
he was Tarzan at one time. Yeah.
Gordon Scott was another one.
Yes.
Jock Mahoney was another one. So I don't know. I don't know if he did any with Lex Barker. He did a couple of episodes of Circle of Fear in the 70s.
Sixth Sense as well.
So I don't know. I thought he did a good job, and he was known to Richard Gordon was very complimentary about him. Thought he was an excellent director. And I thought that Boris Karloff in some interview had said he was one of the better directors that he'd worked with.
I think it should.
I do. The story flowed. There were some slow parts in there, but for the most part, the story kept unfolding at a pretty good pace, I thought, for the time limit.
Yeah, I like the way he framed some shots, like when the leg when he goes to the pub or the inn or whatever it is, and the one guy's got the leg, and it just it's always like sticking out toward the camera.
Yeah,
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was like almost
Get
like
away
in
from it.
3D. Like if it would have been in 3D, it
Oh
would have
my
been coming
gosh.
right at you.
So, and the writer of the screenplay is Gene Scott Rogers. So we had a female scriptwriter.
Oh, cool.
She didn't do a lot. What did I notice? Valley of the Kings was 1964. But Tom Weaver thought, he told a couple stories about things that were in this book, Triumph Over Pain. And he thought this woman must have read that or parts of it, because these episodes were in the movie that were real life episodes of the movie that were kind of crazy. And the book is by Renee Fulop Miller, F-U-L-O-P Miller, 1938. Anyway, the place where you have the patient running amok in the operating theater.
Mm.
He said that was pretty similar to back in in Hartford, Connecticut. This was back when they were first doing this stuff. They were doing a grand exhibition on the effects of nitrous oxide. And so they were going to give nitrous oxide to 10 people. And then there was 8 muscle people there that were supposed to restrain them if they went crazy. It wasn't even an operation or anything. And the first guy they gave him to did something, and somebody started laughing, and he just went after the guy and created havoc, just started tearing the whole place apart and everything. So he thought
sort of
maybe,
like Joe Johnston's Wolfman.
Okay.
What that reminded me of when he was in the operating room and.
Okay.
Never mind.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is who's Joe Johnston?
The
He's
director.
Director?
Yeah. It's the 2012 film, right?
Yeah.
Or later?
Or something.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then the other one was about Dr. Bolton's addiction. There was a guy named Dr. Horace Wells who tried to use chloroform and ended up becoming addicted to chloroform. And in fact, he even said that, people kicked him out, didn't pay any attention to him, and it didn't work. But then he realized that if he kept doing chloroform, he didn't feel so bad about it.
Yeah.
That
explains a lot.
He ended up homeless, walking the streets, chatting up prostitutes because he was talking a lot, and they were the only ones who would hang around and listen. And one of them got on his bad side, and so he scrounged up a flask of vitriol, which is actually sulfuric acid, and threw it on her and another woman she was talking to.
Oh.
He was arrested, and he then committed suicide by smuggling some chloroform in, inhaling it, and then slashing an artery in his thigh while in the Tombs, New York.
See, kids, that's why chloroform's bad, okay?
Like, can you smell this? Does it smell like chloroform?
I know. Everybody, it starts on nitrous oxide, and then you go to chloroform, and then ether, and then, it's just downhill from there. But I thought that was
nobody wants to just breathe air anymore. What's the problem here?
I'm sure there's huge parts of this book that aren't very interesting, but I thought the stories that they were talking about and the chapter titles looked pretty interesting to me. The writer. So here's our lead. I don't know if she's the lead female character or not, but Betta St. John plays Dr. Bolton's niece. At least she calls him uncle.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's what I thought too.
Wait, there's a switchy scene.
But his son
exactly
gives her a big kiss, and they just look at each other and go, "Good evening," and walk away. I'm like, I guess was cousins okay in 1840? I don't know.
It was before anesthesia. I think after anesthesia it developed, incest became less and less of a problem for people.
I'm sure there's a connection there somewhere.
Yeah, I was scratching my head on that. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
is this a Lay on Luke thing going on here? What's happening here?
So she was in City of the Dead,
Ah,
Oh,
or Horror Hotel, as some people prefer. And she was in this Tarzan movie. I think it was another Robert Day. Yeah, it was the one with Gordon Scott as Tarzan. Tarzan the Magnificent.
The ego on that guy.
Yeah. By the way, my high school band instructor's name was Robert Day, but he wasn't this guy. Surprise.
imposter. He was an imposter.
Corridors of Blood. Oh, she's in The Snorkel. Oh, that's a cool Hammer
I don't know that one.
kind of whodunit.
The Snorkel?
Oh God. It came in that Daphne, it's in that 20 movie pack that I talked to you about it. You have it, I think.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to look it up. The Snorkel. Okay.
The Snorkel.
Well, somebody kills somebody.
With a
Okay,
snorkel?
I won't tell you. No, but
Divers find a haunted snorkel on the bottom of the
floorboard.
ocean.
He hides in the floorboards and has a snorkel that gives him fresh air, and he kills the person with gas or something. I don't remember exactly now. I just saw the
So
story.
exactly strike fear into.
And this young woman figures out what it is, who it is, and she can't get anybody to listen to her. The snorkel. It's the snorkel. Not quite like that. Oh, she's in another Tarzan
That was
movie.
good.
Tarzan and the Lost Safari.
Was it the same director doing them or different?
No, it isn't, but it is still Gordon Scott. So I don't know. I wonder if I should have looked the first time. She plays different characters. So, but she pretty much stopped. Her last credit is in 1965. So
I think she did a really good job.
Yeah,
I liked her a lot. I liked her better than I liked the son. Actually.
Yeah, she was basically Boris Karloff's conscience.
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
That was what she was playing.
Well, she also
Mhm.
directs him when he, at some point, what is it? He screws up and cuts his hand. Is that when he goes
the bottom
crazy?
part.
And
Yeah.
tears the place apart?
Mhm.
And she gets him to realize that it worked because you didn't feel it. You didn't realize you cut your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked her a
Calmed it
lot.
down too. Yeah.
Mhm.
The other two women in the cast are Adrienne Corey and Yvonne Romaine.
Heifers.
What?
Ouch.
Well, the one on the bottom not, but the one on the top there, yeah, she was a heifer.
They were, so their scam
What you
was, well, they got, Yvonne helped them, although she didn't seem to, she acted innocent somehow, but isn't she the one that got the one guy drunk? I thought she was the one with the one guy where he got drunk and then they escorted him upstairs.
Yeah, she got him drunk, but then the one on the top said,
Was gonna.
"Give her to me. I'll take care of it for her."
Well, I
Yeah.
thought they were gonna kill him. Weren't they gonna? Wasn't
They
the
did.
resurrection joke? Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't know if she was in on it or not. Or if
Oh.
she was just supposed to chat him up and get him to spend money on booze.
They definitely set it up like she was gonna be involved with something like that, like saving somebody. And they didn't really go into it.
Yeah. Well, once they got him drunk, they took him upstairs and Resurrection Joe smothered him with a pillow.
Yeah.
He liked that pillow. Man,
He
that was,
Then they
that was his favorite pillow.
Then they got Dr. Bolton to sign the death certificate so that they could sell the body, the cadaver, to the medical school where Boris Karloff worked.
Yeah. Nice little setup.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought these guys both did really good.
Yeah. Rachel up top, she was just, you could just see her and Joe. No, not Joe. Ben. Yeah. They're just perfect for each other.
Yeah.
They just were. Yeah. And then
Cohorts.
yeah. And she was a lady in The Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
She's pretty, I heard she's pretty spunky. I've always wanted to learn more about her.
My favorite role of hers is in Vampire Circus.
Yeah, Vampire Circus.
Okay.
Yep.
She's also in Bunny Lake is Missing, and it looks like Dr. Zhivago. She had a long career. She worked up through 92, has over 100 credits. Madhouse.
With Vincent Price and Peter Cushing.
I assume so.
And
Doc, our encyclopedia.
Yes.
I know, I forgot the
Robert Corey.
Robert Corey, yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it out of my face.
Directed by Jim Clark, the Scottish race car driver. Oh no, that'd be a different Jim Clark.
Scottish racial car driver. Is that what you
Race car driver.
Am I having problems hearing Jeff
Yes.
today?
Jim Clark won the Indianapolis 500 in 1965. I'm just saying.
And he's coming up around the bend. No.
A Study in Terror. So yeah, so you've heard of her before, eh, Daphne?
Yeah.
Just from those roles that mostly Clockwork Orange.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's the one where they go in and they say no time for the old in-out mom, just come to read the meter.
Yeah,
She's
the
in
rape,
the home
the
invasion.
yeah,
Yeah.
the home invasion. Yeah,
Yeah,
But-
that's a polite way to put it.
yeah, yeah. That is a good way to put it. And I've read a little bit about how she got along with Stanley Kubrick
Yeah, I
in
see
that
that.
scene. Yeah. So she seems really interesting. Yeah. And
Yeah.
she did a really good job in this movie. That, like you said,
Mm.
both these actors, all of the actors, I think, even some of the ones that are just like the guy who kind of gets people to come into the inn. He's like
Yeah.
the watchdog
The one
outside.
that- on
Yeah,
the crutches? Yes.
Yeah.
Ned the
Ned
Crow.
the Crow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ned the
Um,
Crow.
So they this is interesting, and I haven't watched Clockwork Orange in a long time, but it says she was the third actress to play that character, and the other two quit because of the physical demands of playing a rape victim, especially when Stanley Kubrick keeps going, another take,
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
take,
Mm.
another
Yeah.
take.
That could be brutal.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I kind of hate Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah. Yeah. That's if you think about that and what that scene was like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then The Shining.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
Interesting.
talented
Interesting.
guy. Talented guy. No.
Talented, but he
Interesting.
was an a-hole.
Yeah.
All right.
It's interesting for sure.
Somebody has to be. So let it be.
Yeah, I'm glad it ain't me.
Mm.
No,
Well,
because nobody thinks that of me. Nobody.
Yvonne Romaine,
I'll fight him.
I think shortly after this, Yvonne Romaine was in an Elvis movie,
Oh,
Double Trouble. Not the best one.
Double trouble. I don't know. They're all the same. I like them all.
And my wife hates she hates Elvis with a passion.
Oh no!
She was in Devil Doll.
I'm crying.
She did an episode of The Saint, Night Creatures as well.
Night creatures.
The Curse of the Werewolf. She was a servant girl that first got raped by the
She's the mom.
bum. Yeah.
She ends up being the mother. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Huh.
And Circus of Horrors.
See it now. Yeah.
So anyway,
Very cool.
she married a Oscar-winning music composer named Leslie Brickus, who won 2 Oscars. One for Talk to the Animals from Dr. Dolittle as best song, and the other one for I knew I was going to forget that.
I wonder if she was supposed
Victor
to.
Victoria.
Ah.
Sorry.
Ooh. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if she was supposed to. Her character was supposed to be in more because they really kind of set up that kind of vulnerability and innocence or something
it
character.
seemed like
Yeah.
it should have been more, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did a really good job playing that character. And so I was kind of like, I was just waiting for more. And
Yeah,
Well,
I think
Just didn't go anywhere.
the whole thing was weird because she seemed like the one that was kind of luring him in or setting them up, getting them drunk. But still, she kind of stayed in her room and was innocent. And they would
Right.
just tell her to, you go back to your room whenever she came
Right.
out and saw some of the stuff she was doing.
Mhm.
And then Resurrection Joe decides it's time to go rape her.
It's
And
time.
yes. And she said it was a really weird rape scene because at that time you had to keep one foot on the floor. That was
I've heard that before.
a censor type thing, the Hays Code or whoever.
Yeah, because you're not really having sex if both
if
feet
you got
are
a foot,
up on
if you got a foot on the floor.
Mhm.
So if you watch him, he's got one foot out on the floor the whole time.
That is totally new to me.
Yeah, I think that's. I think at the time that scene probably played a little harsher than it does.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
tame by comparison now, especially when we're talking Stanley Kubrick.
Got that
right.
X rating too.
Well, and even when she was getting that guy drunk, we've talked about a couple times. Christopher Lee was looking at her in a really icky way. He did a really good job of being a creep, and so it just seemed like a natural progression. And by that point, you know what kind of guys are down there. You definitely know about Resurrection Joe, and then you see that. So
apparently everybody in that pub, there wasn't a single one of them that had any morals. I mean,
no, the pickpockets and
yeah,
the little kid was a pickpocket.
Kids
and
the
entire place emptied through the trap door behind the piano or whatever that was.
Well, what, they could. Some of them stepping over each other at the raid at the end. But.
Speaking of Christopher Lee, and
that bottom picture.
I know. And it's really just I watched one that it looks like he's Bugs Bunny, like he's gonna say.
That top picture is so frightening, and that
I
bottom
know.
one, he just looks like a Disney character.
I know.
And the scene where
I
that
swear to
picture
God,
is-
he looks he does an amazing job being creepy. I swear.
He'll.
when that bottom picture, the scene that's in is like I don't know how they caught it. It's just he's like turning, and that you don't really that expression doesn't clock.
Huh, yeah.
They just caught it on the still. I probably shouldn't have put it in because
No,
it's pretty
hilarious.
funny. And it's pretty funny.
one of the things I loved about this place was their clothes too.
I want it on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, come on. The hat works, right? The hat's killer.
Yeah.
Oh, at all.
Yeah.
But there's your example, Daphne, of the lighting. Look at the backlighting and the lighting on him. Where half his face is shadowed. It's so good. And listen, they did the hat. How did they get the hat to be lit on the other side of his face? That's so perfect.
It's very cool. And they did that a lot with him. Like even when you're first introduced to him, just kind of sitting at the table, and then he kind of goes back in the shadows when the doctor walks in the first time.
Did you guys recognize him at first? Did you realize?
No.
It? I was like, is it? It doesn't look like it.
No, I didn't. Even knowing that he was in it, I didn't realize him. Yeah, well,
no, I'm in Daphne's court. I was like scratching my head.
Well, this is still back when he's, again, that was one of the selling points was James Carreras recommended him to Richard Gordon,
and somebody else will get to
and said he's gonna get really big from Curse of Frankenstein, and so this will help sell your movie.
Yeah. And then Hammer Dracula came out.
Well, but I was using it more as like how good of a job, like what Doc was saying about the lighting, because they really, he was dark. He was a dark character. You know what I mean? Dark clothes, dark lighting. I loved some of the makeup that they did on his face. Like wasn't really over the top, but you definitely could see that he's got some cuts and stuff.
Been through some scraps.
Yeah.
But that's all washed away by that picture on the bottom.
I know. Oh. If I ever look at myself and getting caught in a photo, not looking good. I'm just gonna go on. Even happens. It even happens to
Yeah.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah, the top one is him, being out
Yeah.
there and being dangerous. The bottom one is the mugshot.
Yeah.
So funny.
Oh, I'm going to show this anyway.
Uh-oh. No, you're not.
I am. I have to show this just because
Do it quickly.
I know Chad would be bummed if I didn't show this. So Yvonne Romaine, on her IMDb page, when you look up her images, this is one of the images.
Oh.
And that's her on the back of the Men Only magazine that Paul's grandfather is reading in A Hard Day's a Night.
Oh.
Who's not Paul's grandfather, but at any rate. So.
I thought that she was dressed up as Paul McCartney.
Ah!
That's why I was like,
No.
Ah!
I was like looking, and then I looked over at the back of the magazine.
All right.
I
Get that
thought,
picture-
well,
get that
I
picture
didn't know
out of
she
there.
was, I looked at that and thought, I didn't know
Get
she
it
was
off,
Hard
get it
Day's a
off.
Night.
Get it off. You're going to get it.
I'm like,
Good.
okay,
Somebody's going to holler.
that's her on the magazine. Cool. All right. Weird little things. I don't get much chance to bring the Beatles into horror movie discussions. So.
Nor should you.
Maybe we should try more.
Oh no, you'll lose Chad altogether. So let's look at. We also had Finlay Curry, who is the superintendent, I guess, of the.
It's pronounced von Stroheim.
Yes, of course it is.
Finley von Stroheim.
Another very recognizable British character actor. One of the things they said was that saved them a lot of money and was very helpful that they could shoot this on the MGM studio, because otherwise they wouldn't have had the money for all those sets and stuff that they had, and that it also saved them money so they could get these actors in it.
Oh, cool.
And they had a little bit longer shoot on this than from The Haunted Strangler. So he plays Balthazar in Ben-Hur. Let's see, Around the World in 80 Days, Great Expectations, Ivanhoe. Go ahead. Sorry. He's kind of his friend, right? He's the guy that Dr. Bolton goes to discuss his problems, and could he help get him in, get the committee to approve his tests. But at some point, even he is like,
But I think he was worried about him. He seemed to genuinely be like, you're going to ruin your reputation. So yeah, kind of his friend.
Yeah, he's in Cleopatra. Doesn't look like he did a lot of movies like this. So, there may have been a certain number of people that were willing to do this to work with Boris Karloff too.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Nobody said that, but in fact, what they said was Tom Weaver's asking Robert Day. He goes, "Okay, so you worked with Peter Cushing on Island of Terror, and you worked with Boris Karloff, and everybody says they're both saints. They're just absolute saints. Which one is more saintly than the other?" And his response was, "Well, I'll tell you what, nobody ever called Christopher Lee saintly."
Yeah, I think Peter Cushing gets that one for sure.
Boris Karloff, they said he did all kinds of nice things to the people that worked there, and his wife was on set all the time. Whenever Boris was there, his wife was there, and her job was to do whatever he needed and to kind of protect him and make sure he was treated correctly. Which I thought was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because wasn't his health starting to fail here?
Probably. He would get wore out, I think, on a full day's work. I think was he like 69 at this point already? Or am I stretching that?
I don't know.
Born in 87, so 13 plus 58, 71.
Wow.
Yeah, he was probably in a little bit of discomfort.
All right.
Just did a great job.
One of the scenes that I was really struck by his acting was when he he goes from just being totally out of it and like really obsessed with one of his tests, and then he hears his son and niece and friend and talking about stuff, and then he kind of walks in and completely on the ball, talking like he's a-okay and stuff. And I was like, it just made me think about, we talked a little bit about the addiction and stuff like that, and he just swooped in there perfect, performing perfectly like you would expect him to. And it was like, wow, he did a really good job.
And made it all look like it was on purpose and everything. Like,
everybody was like, okay, he's fine, he's great.
So we also have Nigel Green and Francis Matthews. Nigel Green doesn't show up till later. He's the inspector. He was in Countess Dracula that we did in the 70s. Remember? He was Ingrid Pitt's I don't know, count
uncle.
Well, he was wanting to be, wasn't he wanting to be kind of like friendly with her, and he was jealous that the other ones were. Don't I remember that right?
Yeah. Well, I remember.
Okay.
He was also in The Skull.
Yeah. Gorgo. You didn't say Gorgo.
I didn't.
He was uncredited. That's all right.
In Gorgo, Mask of the Red Death. So another one with thing, but he died relatively young. He died before he was 50.
You mean he's not 50 in this picture?
No. He's short of that.
Yeah, I guess it was a rough life to live back then.
Yeah, he was in his 30s then. So
he was 34.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
It's the sideburns. And then Francis Matthews also, who plays Dr. Bolton's son, Boris's son.
Yeah.
He was also in The Revenge of Frankenstein, Dracula, Prince of Darkness. He's there. He does that. He did that stuff.
And wasn't he also in the Rasputin movie?
The Mad Monk.
Mad Monk.
Mad Monk.
I think he was in that one too.
Was he?
I think so. Let me look it up. I recognize him from that. I think he played like the brother or someone that was after.
I'm not seeing it, but it doesn't mean.
Well, I could.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. Oh yeah, because they shot Dracula, Prince of Darkness, and Rasputin back to back in that same location. That's right. I remember that now. 1966. Ivan Kisnikov.
What'd you say? You've been what?
Suitably Russian name, I guess.
Like Ivan Humpala.
Oompa.
Well, mine was from Austin Powers.
Okay, so he was in The Revenge of Frankenstein, not The Curse of Frankenstein.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Curse was the first one, correct?
Yes.
Right.
I thought he was in Curse. Oh well. Okay.
Yeah.
Bad on me.
I thought he was too, but I'm not seeing it. But anyway. He was worried about his father, but he just didn't have the wherewithal to stop him.
Yeah. He did confront him.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Last but not least, well, not last, but Frank Pettingell, who I would call the blowhard. He was always shooting. He's like telling Boris how there's no way, you can't have the knife without pain. And wow, you're really good. Look how fast you went. Speed is of the essence. Yeah, when the guys, this bell would ring when they were going to have surgery. And there was like big, strong men in the town, and they would all listen to the bell and stop and go to the operating theater so that they could hold the guy down that was going to get operated on.
Yeah, strap him down.
I have that somewhere here.
Because he was he was always the one with the timer, right? And he was like, if he doesn't finish soon, she'll die.
Yeah.
And then the top picture, he's buying a cadaver from Resurrection Joe, and look, the death certificate signed by Dr. Bolton. Well, of course, then it must be right. So
Yeah.
So yeah, here's the operating room.
That's a good scream at the bottom.
Yeah.
It was. You could see his cavities.
Modern cavities, and
actually, his teeth should be an awful lot worse than that.
Probably in
For
that
back
time
then,
period, yeah. But you got all these people watching, and then these 3 or 4 big guys are holding him down. Plus, he's strapped down.
Yeah.
And they're going to amputate his leg. So now there was some scenes that were cut here. And I was trying to watch and see which ones were still in it. And I think they're all in it in the DVD that I watched. Now the things, or no, maybe they weren't. I don't know. But on the DVD they show the scenes that were cut in an extra. But the scenes that were cut at different times, different places. One was when he goes to start amputating the leg, Karloff takes a knife and goes, right over the leg, and it draws a red line over it, like he started cutting, and the guy starts screaming. That was supposedly cut. And
that was in the version that I saw.
Okay.
When he was doing when he was kind of having his first kind of I don't want to say flashback when he started using the the drugs, and he was like, Black Ben was there talking, and he was like going over kind of things in his head. They showed that.
Okay. Well, then when Resurrection Joe stabs the guard at the pharmacy.
Yeah.
Right. It shows the knife going in on the thing. And I think in the version I saw, there's just they wrestle him to the ground and he kills him.
Yeah, I didn't see that in the.
And then when he stabs Karloff, same thing. You see the knife go in. And then the last thing was when they throw acid on when he throws vitriol on Resurrection Joe.
Why all the vitriol?
Some of that was I don't know why they called it. I looked that up and it just said sulfuric acid. And I'm like, well, why did they call it sulfuric acid? I don't know.
They had part of that in the version that I saw on a classic horror movie channel with the acid on the face. Yeah.
Supposedly they cut some,
cool.
but I didn't see that. I couldn't
okay.
see that it was any different than the version they showed. So they actually showed on the DVD in one of the extras, they show the letter that tells them what they should cut out in each paragraph describing it, and then they show the scene. It's kind of
that's cool.
It was kind of interesting. And then
that scene up top when they bring the guy in and just put him on the ground.
Yeah.
That made me think of Young Frankenstein. Like I was just going back to the beginning of Young Frankenstein.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Funk.
Yeah.
All right, what have I got here? Finlay Curtis, Frank Pettingill. Oh, well, I forgot Black Ben. Here's
I was gonna say, where's Francis D. Wolf?
Francis Dewolf, who Chad calls Bluto, but he's sort of a Sebastian Cabot kind of looking character.
He is
great.
Looking. He was in The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yes, he was, Dr. Mortimer. He was the spirit of Christmas Present in the 1951 version of Christmas Carol.
I could see that.
Isn't that the one that's like all on top of all the food and stuff?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, he was really, really gross. really bad. He did a great job.
Oh, way greasy.
And this, his the character was so gross and bad and evil. And
well, they play him so bad too. He runs and gets him. Oh, I got this guy staying in my room, and he's dying, and we need you. And then the wife plays into it. He's in well, that's not much of a part. He's in Curse of the Werewolf as bearded customer. Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, 1960. Anyway,
the Devil Doll again.
Oh yeah.
Well, he has that look that says, I was born to play horror movie role.
Yeah. Always the bad guy.
He's got the eyebrows and the beard,
Mhm.
mustache.
But
So,
I
yeah,
love that he's kind of. You were talking about the clothes. I love that he looks, relatively well-to-do, even though he's clearly not. But everybody else that was in the bar was, most everybody else was wearing rags
Yeah.
or,
Mhm.
just
so I was thinking about that.
so
Nobody,
down. Mhm.
how, and I guess it's kind of like that now if I had to think about it, but how the clothing seemed really standardized regardless of how much money you had. The difference was it was falling apart if you were
Mhm.
poor, like that Ned the Crow, his hat.
Mhm.
He had a top hat, but it was all bashed in.
Yeah.
You couldn't hardly tell what shape it was. I think that's him in
Mhm.
the corner there of the top shot with Black Ben.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see that over there. Uh-huh.
Oh,
And
goodness.
Mhm.
his hat's all,
He's hiding over there by Chad.
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, we've talked about in other movies too, where it was like people would steal the clothes off of dead folks or people or their victims in
Oh, yeah,
some
yeah.
sort of crime, and so kind of they would have. You wondered why some folks looked that nice, in a way.
Especially the ones that are killing the people in the clothes.
Exactly.
They were
I always
animated
always
in some
wondered.
way.
I always wondered. Maybe Daphne can answer, or if she doesn't, somebody can tell us why top hats and were so tall.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh, I don't know. That's a good question.
if your head doesn't fit in it, what's
Yeah.
the point of all that wasted space?
You don't know. They might have been cone heads,
That's true. That's a good question. I never thought about that. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah. I
Or
just
if someone
wondered.
knows, yeah.
I've always wondered that, but never bothered to research it myself. It's easier for me to let somebody else tell me.
Why did women wear corsets with whalebone inserts that force them into an unnatural shape that cause them to faint if they all right, yeah, so this is another one where you can see that Ned, he's on the stairways there.
Mhm.
And that's the guy that kind of throws Dr. Bolton into a
Mhm.
tizzy.
Mhm.
Somebody that he had amputated his leg and thought he was fine, and they released him, but he was in shock and has never recovered. And
And another great shot. Look at that, just from below, going all the way up the stairs.
Mhm.
The stairs look so twisted and creepy.
Mhm.
And all they're doing is turning to go up to the top of it.
right.
Mhm.
And then the shadow of the
Yeah.
the bar at the top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And great lighting in the bottom one too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
With Christopher Lee and his favorite pillow and a victim.
There must be lights on the floor in that room.
Well, shining up in his
Probably
face.
coming up through the cracks of the
Yeah.
Where am I?
That's
There
it.
I am.
Good sets, etc. The one last we have the
There's the acid in the face.
Is that Alice Cooper at the bottom?
yeah.
Alice Cooper wishes.
He threw a beaker of vitriol on him.
Vitriol.
That's when you say that, it's to me. I'm thinking, oh, he said some harsh words to him, and his
Right,
face
yeah.
melted.
Exactly.
Or he's laughing. He's laughing. What are you
Well,
talking
as a
about?
matter of fact, when you look up vitriol, the second definition is the acid. The first definition is what you're talking about.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
not used to
Weird.
that. So, and that's where he was getting ready to use the pillow on Boris there. In that
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
That's
His
another one.
favorite
That's
pillow,
went really
not just
well.
throw pillow.
He knows how to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't didn't serve a purpose anymore.
They wanted to
Dr.
call him
Dr.
Pillow
Bolton.
Talk. Pillow Talk Joe.
Pillow talk.
Oh.
And the last guy I've been saving to bring up, he has such a little part, you almost don't notice him, but Skip Martin plays a dwarf. Well, he is a dwarf, but he's in the scene in the bar where they dish him up a food at dinner, and he turns around and walks away, and somebody smacks a kid, the kid bumps into him, etc. And I've started doing that ever since like the Wizard of Oz, of looking to see where these guys have decent careers. So Skip Martin was also in Horror Hotel, which we covered on 70s.
Mhm.
And that's I think he's serving up some brains or something there, if I remember right.
Yes, he is.
It's a great picture.
And then in Mask of the Red Death, he plays Hop Toad.
That's not insulting.
I know. And then
Come here.
what's the bottom one again?
Vampire Circus.
Vampire Circus.
Now, weren't they all? No, not Vampire Circus. Never mind.
I kept getting those mixed up because some of these people were in Circus of Horror, which was done by the same guys that did what's the one we did with Steve Turek, the Black Horror? Was that?
I'll think of it. Yeah,
Wasn't that the name of it? The Black Horror or Black Terror?
Black Museum.
Black Museum.
Black Museum. Yeah.
Horrors of the Black Museum.
I think
maybe, or something
Circus
like that, yeah.
Circus of Horror was part of that group from that same company, I think. So yeah, almost like a horror icon is pushed in there for just a little bit part.
I get what you did there.
Well, I didn't mean it that way.
Yes.
I love the bottom picture there from Vampire Circus.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was the single. Anyway, he was the thing I liked the most about Horror Hotel.
I can see that.
All right, and we're going to have to do Mask of Red Death at some point. That's another one that's kind of sitting in the wings.
I can't believe we haven't done it.
So, have any of you guys seen The Haunted Strangler?
No.
No.
It's got a great story. I'll talk to you about it later. We'll probably have to do that sometime.
I was going to say we need to put that on the list. Isn't that the one where maybe it's a different one where Karloff's lip is kind of like?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's sort of a Jekyll Hyde thing where he and this one actually has sort of a Jekyll Hyde too between, but and they were trying to figure out how to do the makeup, and he goes, well, how about this? And he took his dentures out and went, and they went, yeah, that's cool. Seriously.
Good going.
There you go.
And I think he did that on another movie. I don't remember.
Frankenstein.
Anyway.
He took him out for Frankenstein. That's what gave him that sunken.
Oh, you're right.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But I think he had some uppers or something because he was biting his. Anyway. Without giving too much away there. All right. Any final comments about Corridors of Blood?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a good pick, Daphne.
Yeah.
One I've never seen, so I'm glad. Always glad to see new movies.
Yeah.
New to me, anyway.
This is our first back-to-back double feature. I'm sorry, you guys.
We got to do that more often.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a great idea that you had to do that. I like that.
I thought it was your idea.
Oh, well.
You had to
go ahead and take credit for it, Daphne.
But anyway, I having never seen it before, I don't know how many people maybe have seen it, but I've never really heard about it before, and I thought it was really good. And Boris, like I said, I love seeing him kind of play some of the other characters too. I love, of course, Frankenstein and stuff, but it's neat to see him have more range.
Yeah.
And it's always good to see him play a good guy.
Yeah.
And he started out with a very, I mean, he took care of people that couldn't pay him.
Right.
And all that. And
he would give money back to them.
Yeah, and give them money. And so that's always cool to me to see like classic, more villainy guys get good roles like this where they play good characters.
Yeah.
Not to ruin it for you. Let me find this here. I hate when I do this. I wrote this down. Now I can't find it.
Well, while you're looking for that, I was going to say I also like that they didn't like kind of soften it, how bad he was, the bad things that resulted from his addiction. He was. You could definitely. He was a good guy who did all the things that you mentioned, but he just kind of kept on that road and doing bad stuff, and people were hurt, and he almost killed people, and they didn't shy away from that.
Yeah.
Even though you can kind of feel for him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But he did recognize it and stop.
Yes, he did.
You know,
Yeah.
and to be
Mhm.
fair, he didn't, when he was experimenting with all the stuff, he didn't remember all the stuff
Right.
he did once he did
Yeah.
it. So,
Mhm.
and you know, up
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
toward the
It was
end,
very
he
sad.
was-
Yeah.
Well, it makes you realize it's not that far fetched when they show people now where
Mhm.
they're trying to invent something and the doctor right away starts experimenting on themselves. That's apparently
Yeah.
that's what they all did back
Mhm.
then. I mean,
Mhm.
Mhm.
kind of had to. Yeah.
Yeah.
so the little girl
Oh,
who he's going to do surgery on,
Without anesthesia, because it wasn't created yet.
her name was Gilda Emanuele. She was not listed or credited. 6 years old, and they said that she was absolutely scared to death. Now I don't know if they did it in the first take or not, but somebody on set said, "Get her ready for the scene where they cut her leg off." And she heard him and just like totally freaked out. And at some point they had, they were trying to console her and explain to her, no, it's just pretend, blah, blah, blah. But
After they got the shot.
yeah, well, she was still pretty tore up. Well, she's not hysterically screaming, but she's kind of doing this like long-term sobbing thing is what I got out of it. But God, the thing is,
I was so mad at that mother.
Oh,
yeah.
Mhm.
I don't care how poor you are. I don't send my kid out with an infectious and infected and all like that one. I just have a problem with that. And I'm not even joking.
Well, and I also like that you could tell that Dr. Bolton knew that, well, he was pretty sure that she was not going to be able to stop selling flowers for her family. Yeah.
Well, that's why he gave her the money, I thought.
Yeah, to see if they could
carry her over till
to
she
maybe
got
do
better.
it. Yeah. Yep.
Who knows?
Tops and tear. That's all I got to say.
Tops and tear.
Life was hard back in the 1840s before anesthesia. It's a good thing they said that at the beginning. If they had not said before anesthesia, this movie would have taken on a whole new level.
It would have been like a Nazi training film. Or something.
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
Why are they not using anesthesia?
I
think they mentioned it.
All right. That's it for Corridors of Horror. Check that out. It's available.
Blood.
Right? Corridors of Blood.
Corridors of Blood.
Corridors of Horror. I just can't.
Blood passages.
Blood passages. Why am I singing? I don't know.
It's a good lyric.
As we record this, it is on the Classic Horror Movie Channel, the Wicked Horror TV Channel, Tubi, Just Watch,
Not to be,
and the Criterion Channel.
Yeah, I watched it on the Classic Horror Channel.
I did too.
It was a good copy of it, but was yours stretched, Daphne? Because you watched it on that too. It felt like it was a little stretched wide.
Maybe,
a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got used to it quick, but at first I was
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, that's weird."
All right, we do have a couple of pieces of feedback, not a lot.
Yay!
From episode 203, The Giant Behemoth. Nobody has seen fit to comment on Werewolf in a Girl's Dormitory yet. I don't understand.
That's because everybody liked it. Because it was my pick.
First up is from Gregory Crosby. So, Chad, you ready to see this one? Read this one?
We have to turn this into a segment. Chad does Gregory Crosby.
Oh, let's not do that. But
you get a picture.
Yeah. Thanks for Gregory for filling in for us, Doc, all that time. He was really annoying and aggravating. So it's good to have Doc back. But Gregory Crosby says, surprised to say that while I saw Beast from 20,000 Fathoms and Gorgo dozens of times on TV when I was a kid, I only saw this one last week. The crew is correct. A bigger budget would have enormously been helpful, but I like the creepy radioactive zaps and loved Jack McGowan's paleontologist. I wish he'd been the lead instead of the dull as dust co-leads. I actually missed the typical romantic subplot. That said, some nice stop motion work towards the end, especially those searchlights.
All true. Thank you, Gregory.
Very true.
Calm down, Gregory. Calm down.
All right. And then we have one from Santos D. Castillo, 5593. Doc, you want to do that?
Sure. Santos D says, "Hey guys, have you seen Deluge from 1933? Considered possibly the first natural disaster film. Just watched it a couple years ago and was blown away, not just by the disaster scenes, but by other topics rare for its time. Would be interesting listening to your take."
Deluge from 33. Huh, cool.
A massive earthquake strikes the United States, which destroys the West Coast and unleashes a massive flood that threatens to destroy the East Coast as well. Peggy Shannon, Lois Wilson, Sidney Blackmer, who's in Rosemary's Baby and The Seventh Victim, two of my faves. I don't see any other. Oh, Edward Van Sloan. Is that
That
it?
sounds cool.
I'm going to have to check that one out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of
What's
confused
it called
here.
again? Deluge?
Deluge.
Deluge. Isn't that museum in France?
Deluge.
Yeah, it
No,
is. It is.
I could be wrong.
That's the snow sled race. They call it Deluge.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Never mind.
Daphne's going, yeah, it is. Like, I'll go to work tomorrow and tell everybody. Embarrass myself.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Tell your friends.
Go tell everyone you love and respect.
Thank you, Santos Castillo, and thank you, Gregory Crosby. We love our feedback. Plenty of ways to stay in touch. So please leave some feedback on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, or you can send feedback to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com as an email, and check out our Facebook page, Gruesome Magazine's H&R and DOH podcast Facebook group. And also go to the website. There's we only have through the video episodes on the YouTube channel, and most of the podcasts apps only have us back like 100 episodes on each one of those. So if you want to see older ones, go to the website gruesomemagazine.com or decadesofhorror.com. And
Lots of cool reviews and stuff on there too.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. I think that's it. Oh, we also have a Patreon group. Doc, you want to tell them about Patreon?
No, you do.
It's Patreon. Give us for only a few dollars a month. You can get Decades of Horror a day or two after we record it. Now, it's usually 12 days to 2 weeks after we record it that it goes public, and that's so that we can schedule around conflicts and have time and still schedule on time. So, anyway, if you want to get,
you like apples?
Decades of Horror early. Do I like apples?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you like them apples?
What?
Doc said.
Yeah.
When you got to explain it, it's just not funny. It's funny.
I gotcha. I ruined
Next time I'll send it Pony Express. You know what I'm saying?
My goal in life to ruin everybody's jokes. And all I have to do is go, huh? All right. And we did Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Ooh,
Yes,
that was fun.
Yeah.
Those are still out there. You could get the one episode of our podcast for each episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker, plus a follow-up finish one. So yeah, those are only available on Patreon. We appreciate that. So that's it for this episode, but every 2 weeks we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1920 and 1969. Next up is one chosen by me, and we're doing Werewolf of London.
Oh,
And his hair was perfect.
Yeah.
Because I got, and I'll bet you a little old lady gets mutilated. That's all I'm saying.
hey, he wears a hat.
We're on a werewolf kick. Doc picked,
Good
or
stuff.
Chad picked two of them, so I had to pick one too.
Okay.
Well, this
Chad
time
picked
it's a
them.
good one.
Yeah, with Henry Hall, Warner Oland, and Valerie Hobson. So I'm fired up about that. I think the first werewolf movie.
The
although
first
I'm
werewolf movie.
Yeah.
So catch us again here in 2 weeks
Looking
for
forward to
another
that.
great horror movie of the classic era, as only decades of horror can do it. The Doctor is in the house.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you all for making me laugh today. This was fun.
All right, excellent. So glad you're back. All right. Thanks to all the group believers, and thanks to Chad, Daphne, and Doc. Say good night.
Subscribe. Please.
Good night.
Good night.